going on, Jerome's? Happy Friday. And the Trey Lance to the Vikings talk, it doesn't really seem to go away. It's almost like the Kirk Cousins to the Niners talk, which probably ain't going to happen now that Brock Purdy's in the picture. But Trey Lance, the pride of Marshall, Minnesota, NDSU Bison, would he greatly benefit from a change of scenery? Yes. Could that change of scenery be to the Minnesota Vikings? It's possible. Now, I understand a lot of people are poo-pooing on this. It's like, did you see Trey Lance in preseason? He was so bad. Dude has had 4 NFL regular season games. He broke his ankle, all that stuff. Still does have sky-high potential. And, hey, the Niners, rolling with Brock Purdy, rolling with Sam Darnold. If you want to go through and watch the preseason games and read the training camp reports and you want to tell me that legitimately Sam Darnold beat out Trey Lance, I got a bridge to sell you. But there's a lot of things going on there, and I don't understand it. It's not like the Vikings would be giving up multiple first-round picks. It's not like they're mortgaging the future. They would be giving up at most a late day 3 selection for a QB3 who's going to count under $1 million on the 2023 Viking salary cap, which we'll get into his contract here in a sec. I don't see what the problem is with that extremely low risk, potentially high reward spot. You're getting the former number 3 overall pick for a 6th rounder or something for that in that ballpark. So I say go for it, but I'm always about going for it, man. And Rap Sheet, as the 49ers weigh options for Trey Lance, calling his hometown team the Vikings, who were a rumored destination before the draft. Now, that does make sense, where Kwesi and John Lynch go way back like chiropractic, and the Vikings clearly were in the market for adding a potential quarterback of the future. All that talk about potentially trading up for a quarterback, all the talk about Will Levis in the first round, all the talk about DTR in the mid-rounds. Eventually, they settled for Jaron Hall in the 5th, but it's clear that the Vikings were kicking the tires and lighting the fires on a potential quarterback of the future, but they didn't pull the trigger on Trey Lance because, A, the price could have been too high, and also trading draft picks, the current draft, it's a lot tougher to do to give up versus giving up future draft picks. As well, the Vikings didn't have that many draft picks going into the 2023 draft as it is. So the whole thing about the Vikings and Trey Lance, I do believe the steam. I do believe the reports that obviously that Kwesi was in. And getting back to his contract. So you've seen a lot of people get very indignant. They'll be like, oh, well, the Vikings will be taking on a QB3 with $9.3 million in cap hit and $10.8 next year. No, not even close. So his prorated signing bonus, which is around $22 million, that's already been paid out, and that's already dead on the Niners cap. That's where the proration comes in, $5.5 million per year roughly. Now he has 2 training camp roster bonuses in year 3 and year 4, which is the under the roster bonus column. So $2.8 million has already been paid by the Niners and stays dead on their cap. Now, 4.2 and change would come into play next year, which is something that the Vikings would have to factor in because it would be fully guaranteed. But all the Vikings would take on if they traded for Trey Lance on the salary cap is $940K in 2023 and then $5.3 in 2024 once you factor in his league minimum base salary as well. So that's something that Rob Brzezinski and Kwesi would have to factor in, but it wouldn't be a problem because But then we get into how does trading for Trey Lance, if and when the Vikings do it, how does that affect the future of Kirk Cousins, who is in a contract year himself and is 35 years young? Well, Bill Barnwell talked about how this could potentially affect the Vikings. They also picked the Vikings as the most likely destination. They have a blank slate staring them in the face at quarterback. Kirk Cousins, 35, and a free agent after the season. Minnesota used a 5th-round pick on Jaron Hall in April's draft, but it would be a major surprise if it moved forward with Hall as a starter in 2024. Trading for Lance would give the Vikings their first post-Cousins candidate on offense, and if they do fall out of the playoff race this season, Barnwell takes every opportunity to just jab the Vikings right in the ribs with a shiv. Like a sharpened toothbrush. Come on, man. Lance could see snaps in December. Why not say November? Like, if the Vikings are going to be bad, like you say, with all the point differential, how come they won't be tanking it? Whatever. They're the best candidate of the bunch. And the whole thing of would trading for Trey Lance impact the Vikings' potential for extending Kirk Cousins this offseason? I don't think so, but it would give the Vikings options, which is the most important thing. And as of right now, the Vikings have a first, second, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and a sixth. They're absent the third because of the Hockenson deal, but they did get Detroit's fourth rounder. So having 2 fifth-round picks and does give them some flexibility where, how about this? 5th-round pick. We'll give you KC's 5th-round pick for Trey Lance and a 7th. How about that? So a 2024 5th-round pick, Kansas City's, for Trey Lance, and a 2024 7th-round pick. Who says no? I understand that the Niners would basically be lighting their credibility on fire, but also I don't think that they care. I think that they have a Super Bowl caliber team, and Brock Purdy is the game manager that Kyle Shanahan wants. And by the way, we need to talk about Kyle Shanahan, where he likes ready, set quarterbacks, like cut and paste game manager, zippity-doo-dah quarterbacks. Like, he worked well with Cousins in Washington. He worked well with Matt Schaub in Houston. And then, when he took over in San Francisco, it's sort of like, hey, Jimmy G, hey, Nick Mullins even, hey, Brock Purdy, but it didn't work out with Trey Lance, and it didn't work out with RG3 in Washington. It's like, he gets all this credit for being a quarterback whisperer and developer, but no, he just takes these milquetoast, middle-of-the-road, game manager, don't screw up the game type quarterbacks, and that's what he rolls with. I don't know. Doesn't matter. He's a run game coordinator with as a head coach. Doesn't matter. But the Vikings do have day 3 draft capital. And like I said, people get mad about talking about trading for Trey Lance. Oh, he's a bust. But again, you're not giving up a day 1 or day 2 pick. We're talking about late round picks. That's it. So some possible scenarios. So if the Vikings do trade for Trey Lance, it's possible that Kirk walks at the end of the season and Trey is the guy. And at a $5.3 million cap hit, that would be kind of nice, especially since Kirk Cousins is going to leave around $24 million dead on the 2024 books if he does leave with a voided contract. Option 2 is that Kirk is extended and Trey is QB2. Now, I hear what you're saying. It's like, well, why bring in Trey Lance if he's going to be a long-term backup quarterback, possibly even extending him behind Kirk Cousins? Maybe Kirk signs on for 2 or 3 more very solid seasons. Well, how many years was Steve Young the backup for Joe Montana? Now, I'm not saying that Trey Lance is going to be Steve Young, but I am saying that Kirk Cousins is Joe Montana. Not saying, I'm just saying. But having 2 good quarterbacks, people say that's a detriment. No, it's actually not bad at all. Plus, also factor in that Trey Lance is 15 days shy of being 2 years younger than Jaron Hall. It's kind of a big deal. No problem, right? And also the third option is the Vikings find out that Trey Lance is not the guy through various practices this year. Kirk Cousins walks, and then you have anarchy. And then you bring back Teddy and you draft Quinn Ewers. Because why the hell not at that point, man? That's right. But the Vikings quarterback room, like we said, is clear that they wanted to find the quarterback of the future. Jaron Hall has had some nice moments, but he hasn't really established that he's the guy. They're sort of grasping at straws with Jordan Ta'amu. Maybe he develops into something, maybe not. Nick Mullins is what he is, like a decent mid-level veteran backup quarterback, but he's not going to be the guy going forward. So, again, why the hell not roll the dice on the former number 3 overall pick, a guy who has all the raw potential in the world? It's not going to cost you a lot, either in draft picks or in salary cap space. Why the hell not? Roll them bones, Kwesi. Scared money don't make money. You got to be in it to win it, man. Let's go. Can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket. But your thoughts are thoughts. Trey Lance, how would that potentially affect Kirk Cousins' future? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol Production Value.